Hello, YouTube. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm filming on the iPhone, kind of out in the wind. It's Easter Sunday, and I just checked out of my Airbnb. They had an early checkout, 10 in the morning. Check-in in my hotel is not until 4 in the afternoon. So I've got like a 6-hour window where I just need to hang out and occupy myself. Not exactly how I envisioned my relaxing Easter Sunday, but I think I found a safe enough space to park at the hotel where I probably won't get towed, and I'm just walking around, seeing if I can get some good photos or see anything interesting. I'm down by a spot called Pier 99, and I just wanted to look at the boats, look at the houseboats, see what I can see. So let's go check it out. Portland, Oregon is famous for its floating homes. There's all these communities where people aren't just living on houseboats, but actually houses that float on the rivers. Some of them on the Willamette River, some of them on the Columbia River. That's a little island right here. This is Interstate 5, and between Oregon on this side and Washington State on the other side, there's this little island that I think is called Hayward Island or something like that. It's mostly shopping and industrial parks. It's starting to rain. It always rains in Oregon. Some ducks down there. Let's walk around a little bit and see what we can see. Hopefully, there's a no trespassing sign there. Hopefully I can go this way. I think I can go this way as long as I stay out of basically where I just was. Pier West Marina. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get away with exploring back in here or not, but we'll give it a try. If I get kicked out, I get kicked out. Let's see what's back up in here. There's a little rabbit down there. All right. Another cool little floating house. Back when I was an apprentice electrician in Seattle, I lived on Lake Washington on a, not a floating house, but a houseboat. This crow up here isn't really too pleased with me standing here. He's got a lot to say about it. Yeah, I'm not bothering you. For some reason, this whole pier appears to be closed. The pier appears to be closed. Let's get out of this little spot and walk over to where that closed pier is. I'm gonna see if I can get in there and walk down on it without getting in trouble. Portland's got a pretty big homeless problem. So sometimes when you're out exploring like this and just looking around, folks will get upset. They'll think that you're up to no good or that you're just another homeless person. They'll give you a hard time. I was walking across this open, just an empty parking lot next to a closed down hotel a couple months ago, just trying to get a look at the Columbia River. And the security guard came rushing up at me with his hand on he didn't have a weapon, I don't think, or maybe he had pepper spray, but he had his hand on his handcuffs, and he was clearly having a out of control adrenaline moment, thinking he caught a bad guy, and basically flipped out and started yelling and just shaking and coming at me. And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to look at the Columbia River. I'm actually not trespassing at the hotel where you're guarding. That's over there. This is separate, and there are no trespassing signs. Yeah, the dude was clearly not right. So I got out of there, even though I don't think there was any reason why I should have had to. You just don't want to risk it, you know. It's weird times. There's a lot of weird people out of there, and it seems like a lot of those weird people have jobs as security guards, guarding abandoned hotels and empty parking lots and things like that. Security guards, they stick out in the middle of nowhere where they can't get into too much trouble. And unfortunately, I came across one of those dudes. So when I'm out here in Oregon, in Portland, walking around and exploring, I kind of have to keep that in mind, that some of the property owners and security guards and folks like that are so used to dealing with homeless folks and junkies and people that are just trespassing around, looking for things to steal and looking to cause problems. They're so used to dealing with that they may not assess the situation accurately, and they might make some mistaken assumptions about me and respond in a way that is less than ideal. And of course, since I'm out here just exploring, I'm on my day off, kind of bored since I've got this long wait between checkout at one place and check-in in the other. I'm not looking for trouble, and really hoping trouble doesn't find me. If I encounter any messed up situation, I'm just gonna back off, get the heck out of there. What is that? What is this thing? A little metal canister. Yeah, weird. But I mean, as you can see, this sort of area is exactly the sort of place where, in Portland, you'll end up with a little tent city and homeless people if somebody doesn't periodically come through and say, hey, you can't set your tents up here. A lot of people, especially a lot of YouTubers, have been kind of hitting up these sort of West Coast cities, Seattle, Portland, places in California, and talking about the homeless population, the whole homeless problem. There's a boot. And blaming the cities and blaming like liberal states for this problem. And I think, bunch of traffic noise, I think that really misses the point. I think that misses the point. I think that the problem is often created in places like I was out working before, like Oklahoma, places that have some of the highest addiction rates in the country. The problem's created in places that have no safety net, no social services, where you're really on your own and there's not a lot of economic opportunity, so people turn to becoming drug addicts and things like that. They end up messing up their life. They get run out of town because it is a very unfriendly place for somebody who has slipped through the cracks of society, and they end up coming out to places where the government is a little bit less hostile and aggressive. You see, these people aren't going to just cease to exist just because there are there's no support system, there's no safety net. They aren't going to just stop existing, but they will go somewhere else, and so they end up in the West Coast cities, which is terrible for businesses and the residents of places like Portland. It is very frustrating, and it puts a big burden on the society out here. But make no mistake, Portland didn't create the problem. Portland and Seattle and San Francisco and places like that are just cities whose policies have been a little bit more socially responsible, and they try to take care of the problem that other places have created. That's my opinion. I don't blame the cities that are actually providing social services for homeless people for creating the homeless problem. I have a feeling I'm going to get kicked out of this little spot, but we'll see. We'll see if I can walk in here and look around. That's not to say that these West Coast cities are handling the problem perfectly. Of course they're not. Geese. I wonder if I'm about to get chased. A couple geese looking at me like, what do you think you're doing walking up here? Yeah, don't chase me. I'm not bothering you. I ain't bothering you. I want to walk down this little trail past the geese, but I have a feeling they're gonna take a go at me. Geese can be surprisingly aggressive. But I mean, take a look at this. I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see some of these cool little houses on the other side. It's like this marina over here looks like it's all boats. But down there you got houses. There's a ton of them, a ton of these little communities along the river here. All right, I'm gonna brave walking past these geese. Let's see if they leave me in peace. Don't you run at me. Don't you do it. Don't do it. I'm not bothering you. All right. They let me pass. All right. Don't have to get chased by geese today. Yeah, there's a nice little trail here. No idea. There's a sign down there that says, there's a sign right down there that says no trespassing. But I think that's talking about this little parking lot right here. Where I'm at up here, I think I'm okay. I think. I'm not sure. This is all condos and hotels over here. Portland is an absolutely beautiful city. It is a beautiful city. And it's a great time of year to be here. April. It does rain a lot, but it's not hot, it's not cold. Things are in bloom. There's a lot of activities, a lot to do. I don't know if this is a city I would necessarily like relocate to move to if I were going to buy a house somewhere. It's a pretty high tax area. You don't pay sales tax in Oregon, but they make it up other ways. And so you pay a pretty high tax on your income to the state. All right, let's see if I can get back out of this little spot down by the river. Hung out for a few minutes. Oh, there's a snake. There's a little garter snake down here. I do see him down there, but I don't know if you guys can see him. Let's see if I can zoom way in that hole. Yeah, it's too dark for you all to see. The snake is down in that hole. I can see him, but the camera's not going to pick it up. Oh well, I almost showed you a garter snake. Worth the effort, right? It's the thought that counts. All right, let's get up out of here. I have a feeling, yeah, this is a spot where it is a struggle to keep the tent cities out of. It's such a conundrum, you know? Folks that are down on their luck, or they have problems with drugs or mental illness or whatever, and are living in tents, they need a place to be. They do need a place to live. A lot of them are just people down on their luck, or maybe they encountered a problem like I was talking about in my last video. They get some medical problem and it just wipes them out and they lose their home. And then once you don't have a home, sure as hell is hard to keep a job. And in today's America, you can't, if you're just, if you're an adult, maybe you've got some financial responsibilities or debt or whatever, and if you're homeless, no matter how hard you try, you're going to be scraping for like some of the worst, lowest paying jobs. Well, the cost of living's so high now that most folks, they're not going to be able to afford rent. They're going to have bad credit, so even if they do scrape together some money, they're going to get turned down when they run a credit check to get an apartment. They end up living under a bridge, living in a tent, even though, they might be a responsible person. They might not be one of the many homeless people that's got, drug addiction problems or mental illness or any number of other things. So it's a societal problem. And, what do? You don't want them setting up a tent city in a place like this right in front of these nice condos, because there will be garbage. There will be people going to the bathroom all over the place. It will become unhealthy and unsafe. There's not enough services out here to support folks in that situation. You don't want them hanging out in some business district where they, destroy the economy of the area because nobody wants to go there shopping because it's full of homeless people. What do you do with these people? How do you solve this problem? And to me, the solution is, instead of just having a few cities on the West Coast and maybe a few cities in the Northeast that have social services to take care of these people, you need a more comprehensive system that allows them to live where they are and not be pushed out of, places like Texas and Florida and Oklahoma, pushed out of wherever they grew up and forced to go to one of these bigger cities just because the place where they're from is so conservative that they just, they get run out of town by the police or whatever. You need to disperse the problem instead of concentrate it into a few cities where it becomes a critical mass. All right, so can't go past here. Please respect the residents, leash your dog, pick up your pet's poop, no motorized vehicles. Okay, so I can walk through here. I just gotta respect the rules. It's private property, but surprisingly, there's no trespassing sign. You just need to not come through here on a motorcycle, or I don't know if these geese are gonna let me pass. You guys all right with me walking through here, huh? Yeah? You're not gonna attack me? That one wants to. Ooh, I do not like geese. I really don't. So it's pretty cool that you can actually, yep. I hear you. I'm not bothering you. Whew. Scary geese. It's pretty cool that even though it's private property, they let you pass through here. I do like that. Check out this nice floating home right at the end there. What a amazing place to live, huh? It's not tiny, it's a huge house. Huge house. Very cool. So anyway, I kind of wanted to show a little bit of Portland in a different light because I get frustrated. Like, this isn't my city. I don't live in Portland. I'm just here for work, but I've been here for a while, a few months, and there'll be this trend on YouTube to like highlight certain problems, certain things. It gets clicks and the algorithm feeds it, and so people will really get a false narrative. It's kind of how social media works, YouTube works. You get a certain algorithm going that just kind of feeds this story that's not necessarily true. Like, Portland does have a homeless problem. It does have issues, but that doesn't mean that that's all there is to Portland, and that it isn't a beautiful, healthy, productive place. There's people kayaking in the river behind me here. There's a lot to love about this city, and it is pretty safe most of the time in most areas. I think that's it for this video. Happy Easter. Have a good one. I'm gonna get back to strolling around. Yeah, I guess just sharing my thoughts in a little walk. Peace out, YouTube.